I am pretty sure by now everyone is aware about the situation that happened with the CEO from United Healthcare. But the approach that I want to focus on this video, it's more about the reaction that some people have had about the death of an individual and the concerns that we have in the US with healthcare costs. Be right with the video. So definitely the situation is very tragic, as many people, I don't know if the right word is relate, but how it happened, it seemed kind of like a movie, that everything was planned, the way that it was executed. And I have seen many people that are not well known about the firearm talking about this guy was an expert, this guy was very, no. The guy definitely did a lot of planning, but this guy had no, I don't want to assume that he has no knowledge about firearms, but he had very little knowledge about firearms and how about the gas system work on a firearm when it is suppressed, when you use what's it called, subsonic ammo, and those are variables that you need to consider. So that immediately told me this is just someone that definitely had a grudge on United, or maybe that individual in particular, as we don't know yet, since this case is going to be ongoing. But based on what we saw from the manifesto, there was definitely some anger from the kid. And personally, the way that I see it is ending somebody else's life is not going to solve the problem. But it definitely did bring some attention, especially in the case of United, how United is one of the insurances which brought the biggest profits, but also has the highest denial rate, which I'm going to provide you with the numbers. And as you can see, the average on the industry of rejecting a claim, it's around 17 to 16%, but United was rejecting at 34%. And there is a contradiction internally that I have, which is the capitalist side on me, and also the human side. Because when you're rejecting a claim, you're rejecting a human being that definitely needs the care. So you need to make sure you actually justify and you do it as humane as possible, and not only to make your shareholders happy. So there needs to be a balance. And that's why many people from both the left and the right, they were in agreement. And as you can see here in the post that I'm going to show you, Pew Research shows that 83% of Americans have big concerns about the cost of healthcare. And we all can see it. Anytime you go to get anything done around your health, it's you're gonna get an enormous bill, and you're gonna be quick in and out. The doctor's going to see you, they're gonna look at a paper, they're gonna tell you all good, and then you're gonna get a $2,000 bill. And that part is definitely something that has to be fixed, that has been ignored for years. And I think that the reason this has not been resolved is the approach that the left has versus the right. I think the left wants to do like a socialized healthcare, kind of like other European countries have it. And personally, I am more of a mix. I think I'm fine that option being available, but I think throwing more stuff into the government is not going to solve the problem, as government has no incentives to be efficient, has no incentive to actually have good care. When you work with a third-party company, if that third-party company sucks, you can go to another company. But once the only option is government, it normally doesn't, it's not the best option. So that's my disagreement there. But just because people feel the pain of healthcare costs, that doesn't mean you have to feel happy about what happens to somebody. If somebody was killed over a policy or some issues, there's different ways that we can handle the situation. And hopefully, and unfortunately, the way it happened, this raised some eyebrows, and this is something that maybe the Trump administration can look into. Maybe there's some bipartisan bill that we can find to resolve this problem, because this has been ongoing for years and has been ignored. And the other part that I want to bring you is there's this clip from an interview from Piers Morgan where this lady, oh my goodness, the things she was saying, I'm going to show you here the clip.
So let's just agree on those two facts.
I disagree.
Let's move to the other story because Taylor's been waiting patiently here. So this issue of Brian Thompson, one of the top healthcare executives in the country, I'm just curious why your first reaction would be to his cold-blooded execution. And people wonder why we want these executives dead. And then you later commented when people were giving you a lot of blowback, I'm not alone, you said. Healthcare executive down with party balloons was on an ex post that you commented on. Why would you be in such a celebratory mood about the execution of another human being? Aren't you supposed to be on the caring, sharing left where, you believe in the sanctity of life?
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy in a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again...
We're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's been gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Thousands of Americans that be murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
But why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the
You seem
system.
to find the whole thing hilarious.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving health care from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix this system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
I've dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something...
Have you been denied life-saving treatment?
The idea that I would view it as something joyful that a man who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street, I find completely bizarre. Let me bring in Tommy here. Yeah. Tommy, I keep being told... Hang on, Taylor, I'll come back to you.
Okay,
Tommy,
don't say I'm joyful. I said
you said you were feeling joyful.
Yeah, I take that back. Joyful is the wrong word, Piers.
You think?
But I said, as I clarified,
you think?
Yeah.
You think joyful is the wrong word? Yeah.
Sure,
I'd say it is.
Vindicated, celebratory, because again, it feels like justice in this system when somebody responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans suffers the same fate as those tens of thousands of Americans who he murdered.
Definitely what you're saying there is pretty disgusting. I mean, we can agree there are issues in the healthcare system that are not being addressed in the U.S. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, the problem is there isn't a plan that both the right and the left agree. But we all know this is a huge problem. We all know the cost is insane. We all know many people go bankrupt because not having health insurance, or issues with health insurance not covering a critical procedure. And then these people lose their life, their house, their everything. And as a developed country, we definitely should do better. We should try to have systems in place that way we can help our people more. It cannot just be, hey, I'm going to deny this amount of people in order to make extra money to my shareholders, but my actual customers, who are the people that are actually paying you, whatever with them. No, come on. We need to find definitely a way to improve the system if we can find some bipartisan plan. And as I'm going to show you here, these numbers, I was able to pull it up. Based on the information that I researched, it's not 100%. It couldn't be verified, but according to LendingTree, it's the source that they're able to provide. So as you can see, the industry average, as I mentioned earlier, industry average is 16%, and United, it was rejecting at a 32%. That's wild. And we're not talking here about people having issues with something in particular, like, hey, they don't have a car, they don't have. We're talking about some people that are life and death situation. And as much as a capitalist that I am, we need to find a way to have a better system. And and what she said about wishing so that she was joyful. Oh my goodness. I think she just it happens kind of when you speak but you don't think. You speak. I mean, I'm hoping she's wrong, but apparently Fox already fired her for her reaction because, come on, as much as the left hates the people that have money, as much as they hate millionaires and billionaires, I can care less. I'm not defending them. I don't know them, but I don't hate them either. So I think her reaction came more as the hate the far left has towards successful people, combined with the situation how broken our healthcare system is. I'm hopeful that maybe down the road we're able to find some common agreement or a better solution. And I think one of the biggest problems that healthcare has is clarity of product. If you don't know what you're paying for a service before you get a service, and then you have to wait for the surprise bill, that has to be fixed. You have to know how much this hospital charges you for an x-ray versus the other hospital versus the clinic. Once we have some clarity, the market is going to choose. People are going to start choosing the right places. Therefore, prices are going to start lowering. And also the administration and the bureaucracy inside the healthcare industry. That's another big issue, that a significant percentage of all that money that's going into those hospitals is going through all those administration bureaucracy and all that nonsense. And I was going to mention that we had a case. So my wife, as a recent, she had to undergo a knee surgery. Her knee surgery was just to remove a piece of broken bone. It was about 2 inches, so it was bothering him to walk. Her knee was inflamed. Guess how much she paid for it? The surgery took around 15 minutes for removal. It was $42,000. And I understand you're not paying necessarily for the 15 minutes. You're paying also for the expertise, the machines that they have, the procedure, all the things that led you to have a clean and a good surgery. But my boy, $42,000. Come on. And that is the other business. Now, you're 100% required to have insurance, because do you think the insurance is going to pay 42K? They're not going to pay that. They're going to negotiate a price, but you're going to be afraid of that number. Therefore, you're going to be forced to have an insurance. And with the prices of insurance as of late, it's definitely a really tough situation. And I'm hoping, as this is something that both the left and the right agree, we should improve our healthcare. We should have better costs. We should have more price clarity. And wishing death on people, it's not going to fix anything. And I will leave it as that.